Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here and I am so grateful to be back. Today we're gonna talk about sleep. Why? Because sleep is so important. It's literally when we heal. Recently I've been having a lot of discussions and talks about sleep with my friends, and I realized that many of them struggle with sleep, and it really breaks my heart because I've personally have experienced what struggle with sleep is. For most of my life, I'm lucky to say that I've been sleeping well, but in my mid-20s, when I was very anxious and I didn't know how to manage my anxiety, I've experienced a period of my life when I really didn't sleep well. I was up till 3 in the morning. I had a really hard time falling asleep and I slept very little. And then a few years ago, I had another period of my life when I wasn't sleeping well. And I've had maybe a few sleepless nights that makes me really feel for anybody who struggles with sleep. Not sleeping, insomnia probably is the worst torture you can do to a human being. Having this conversation with friends who struggle with sleep really inspired me to make this video and share with you guys everything I have learned personally from my struggle with sleep and doing the research to learn how I can have better habits to sleep better. And everything I will be sharing with you is tried and tested tips that I personally use in my life, that I've been literally using for over a decade, that I know work and help me sleep better. So let's get started. First things first, the bright lights have to go. This is something I've learned years ago in my 20s, is that bright lights in the house make your brain think that it's a daytime, and not just in the house. If you're going to a supermarket late at night or anywhere else where there are really bright lights, it messes up with your circadian rhythm, which is responsible for your brain figuring out if it's nighttime or daytime. And for that reason, Alex and I, whenever we move to a new house, the first thing we do, the most important thing that there is to do, is we install dimmers literally in every single room in the house. Living room, kitchen, bathroom, especially bathroom, because I might go to the bathroom at night. We all do. And I personally don't even turn the lights when I go to the bathroom at night. But if you do, you want to have either a night light or a dimmer, anything that doesn't just blast the light, because what happens when you blast the light at night or even in the evening, it depletes your melatonin from your body. And melatonin, what helps you sleep better, it releases in the body in the evening, and it kind of helps you relax and get ready for sleep. Whereas bright lights stimulate your brain and again make you think like it's daytime. So definitely invest in dimmers, and if you can't, figure out another solution. Get some of those little lights that you can just plug into different sockets. You can get those little night lights that you can use around the rooms. If you do have to go to the toilet in the evening, make sure to use those, or just avoid turning on the lights. The next one is also extremely important. Now, something else that I've integrated into my life years ago is magnesium, and this is an essential mineral that is responsible for helping us relax and helping our muscles and body and our nervous system relax. Now, there are different ways you can take magnesium. I have tried it all. This is an oral supplement that you can take. I take it now. I go through periods actually where I take magnesium and then I don't take it for a few months or even a year, and then I take it again. But overall, it's definitely great to have the supplements to help your body relax, because when you're relaxed, you can sleep and fall asleep better, and you can actually sleep better throughout the night. Now, another magnesium that you might consider using is a spray. I don't have it right now, but there are tons on the market. I'm gonna link them down below, something that I've used before. It's a great brand. I can't remember right now, but I will do some research and I'll link everything down below so you can check it out. So magnesium sprays are really great for you because your body absorbs magnesium right through here. It's your largest organ. When I struggled with sleep years ago, I used to spray it all over my body, and it really made a huge difference in the way I slept. I would sleep deeper. I wouldn't wake up at night, so I definitely can vouch that it works. And one more thing that you can do is you can also maybe once or twice a week take a bath with Epsom salts, which do contain magnesiums, and also great for relaxing your body and helping you fall asleep easier. If you want to sleep better, you really have to change your language about sleep. This is a really important one because your mindset about sleep is what essentially creates your relationship with sleep. I have a great story to share with you about a friend who has struggled with sleep for most of her life, and in her 30s she finally realized why she had the struggle with sleep. And it was mainly because when she was a kid, her mom kept saying to her and her sister that sleep is a waste of time, sleep is for lazy people, sleep is not important, and all these things and beliefs about about sleep. Now, my friend didn't have these beliefs, but it was deeply subconsciously ingrained in her. She wanted to sleep, but because she believed sleep is not important, she kept doing things that would mess up her sleep cycles. When she realized that, she took charge of her sleeping habits, and slowly and surely she changed her language about sleep. Most importantly, she started saying that she loves sleep, she will prioritize sleep. Slowly but surely, she started sleeping better. So I know it's possible based on her experience. I personally have a great relationship with sleep. I always say I love sleep, and it's something that's really important. I know I feel so much better when I sleep well. I have even created a set of affirmations that's on my app. I will link it down below where you can download the app. If you don't know where to start, they will definitely help you have a better language when you talk about sleep. These are my personal favorite affirmations that I've been using for years that have personally helped me sleep better and have helped me have a better relationship with sleep. Now, going back to bright lights, no screen before sleep. And I mean no screen. You really have to find a better way to spend the last hour before you go to sleep than stare into your screen. This is something I used to do a lot in my early mid-20s because I simply didn't know that it affects my sleep. I literally used to fall asleep with my phone in my hands like that. I remember it would take me ages to fall asleep, sometimes 3-4 hours. I would go to bed at midnight and I would be in bed till 3-4 unable to fall asleep because I was staring into my screen. And what happens when we stare into our screen, again, the light stimulates our brain and makes it think that it's morning. It's very simple if you think about that. And if you have this compulsive desire to do something before sleep, I can definitely give you solutions to replace this habit of using the phone before sleep. One of them could be reading fiction books. There's so many studies out there that prove that reading fiction books before sleep can actually help you fall asleep easier and sleep better throughout the night. So you can look into that. Also, I personally prefer journaling before sleep. I use my 5-minute journal before I go to bed, and it helps to focus on all the good things. It calms my mind, and I'm able to fall asleep really quickly and sleep well through the night. So for me, that's really helped. Also, I use my night notes for times when I have these creative ideas and creative bursts as I'm about to fall asleep, and I just need to dump it out of my mind into a piece of paper. I literally have created night notes for this reason, because I had always, since I can remember myself, all these creative ideas right before sleep, or all these to-dos that came to my mind. Oh, I need to have this appointment, or I forgot to call this person, or this happened or that happened. And now having night notes right beside my bed, I know that if one of these ideas come, I don't need to use my phone and again look into a bright screen. I'm just gonna take my notebook, write it down, dump it out, and then be able to relax and fall asleep. But please, this is such an important habit to have. Please avoid to use screens before bed. I've also sometimes, unfortunately, didn't have a choice and have had to have meetings before I went to bed, because I work with people in North America sometimes, and because of the time difference, sometimes it's the only time we can have a conversation. And I know for a fact that when I have a meeting before I go to bed, an hour or 2 hours before I go to bed, and I'm staring into the screen having this virtual conversation, it always takes me longer to fall asleep. Definitely avoid any type of screens. If you do have to use a screen as an emergency or as an exception, then at least use a night mode. What happens when you use a night mode, and if you don't know how to use it, just research how to properly set it up on your phone. Depending on your phone, it might be different. It decreases the blue light in your screen and at least doesn't stimulate your brain as much. I think overall it's still better to avoid it, but at least if you have to use it, use your right screen devices in a night mode as an exception. Meditation is the answer to almost everything, every struggle out there. But you guys know I'm such a huge advocate of meditation. But why? Because it has helped me to manage stress, to manage anxiety, to sleep better. Anytime I'm having a hard time falling asleep, I'll straight away start meditating, because it always puts me in that calm state. Meditation has been proven. There are so many studies out there. You can do your own research to help with sleep. I personally started doing this with Alexa now because she's growing up and she has a very active active, creative mind. And sometimes she's lying down and she's super excited still right before she wants to sleep. So I suggested for us to meditate together, and I'm grateful that she's agreed. This is a habit we kind of tried when she was more little, and then we stopped doing it. So recently we restarted this habit, and she has been loving it. She's been asking me almost every evening to meditate together, and it's just so sweet. We sit down. We started with just 2 minutes of meditation and then 2 minutes of metta, which is like sending love and kindness. Perhaps this is a whole topic for another video, but then now we're doing about 6 to 8 minutes. So we've slowly increased it, and I can see how it's helping her sleep better as well. So this is a great tip for kids as well who are quite active or have very active minds. What meditation does, similar to sleep, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system. What that is that this is the system that is responsible for restoring and healing. Normally you can only restore and heal in your sleep, but meditation also has similar effect. It lowers your heart rate. It tells your whole body that it is time to restore and heal. Even on the nights when I've struggled with sleep, I would meditate for an hour that night, and in the morning, even if I only slept for 2-3 hours, but I meditated for an hour, I would feel still a burst of energy, and I would feel so much better compared to if I didn't meditate that night. I definitely recommend for you to look into meditations. I'm gonna link a couple down below that you can try before you go to bed. I personally love just doing 10-15 minutes right before I go to bed, and it puts me in that calm and meditative state and helps me sleep better. Now, the next thing I'm going to advise you to do might be a little hard for those of you who are addicted to coffee or alcohol, but I would definitely recommend to cut out coffee if you have an issue with sleeping. I'm not saying you have to do it forever, and if you're really addicted to coffee, maybe just don't have it after 1 p.m. But coffee and alcohol, they're both stimulants, and when you drink it, it increases your heart rate, it gets you all excited. So if you're struggling with sleep, you definitely want to avoid coffee, and if you do still want to drink it, have it, like I said, before 1 p.m. Same with alcohol. I know it's something people do for social gatherings, it can be a habit, or they just enjoy having a glass of wine. I understand. If you want to continue doing it, sure, but maybe at least experiment. Try going a few weeks without it and see how it affects your sleep. I know from personal experience, not me, I don't really drink, but Alex wears this Oura ring that measures your sleep, and Alex does drink wine once in a while, and when he drinks wine, usually 1 glass is okay, but anything more than 1 glass, he can see then through the Oura ring, because it tracks his sleep, that he doesn't sleep as well, he doesn't go into deep sleep as much, he's more wakeful throughout the night, so he'll wake up maybe once or twice. So it definitely compromises your sleep when you drink alcohol. So these are some areas to look into and avoid, but specifically caffeine, I would definitely avoid it as much as possible if you're struggling with sleep. I personally have cut out coffee for most part. I still might have it once in a while, but on the regular, I no longer drink coffee, and I feel great, and I really don't crave it anymore because I have other substitutes in my life that are so much healthier. If you guys are interested in what it is, let me know and I'll make a separate video on that. I absolutely love restorative yoga. It is something that I've known for years, but I don't always practice. But a few years ago, when I had a few sleepless nights, and again, I wasn't managing my stress well, I turned to restorative yoga, and it really helped me during that period of my life. So I highly recommend it. It is so effective. I would just YouTube restorative yoga. I'm gonna put some videos down below that I've used back then, and I remember I used to do it every night religiously before I would go to sleep, and it would just put me into this really calm state. If you've never tried restorative yoga, it is very different from hatha yoga or ashtanga yoga or any other types of yoga, because with the restorative yoga, you go into these very relaxing poses and you stay in the pose for a few minutes and you just relax and you close your eyes, and then you change the pose and you relax, you close your eyes. It's so good for you. It feels so nice and relaxing. Just thinking about it makes me feel sleepy because it really does work, and I used to do it again every night before I would go to sleep. It would be so effective in putting me in that sleepy state. So I highly recommend it for any of you who are struggling with sleep. Start doing it and make it a habit for a few weeks and see if it works for you, and then you can decide if you want to make it more of a permanent habit. Now, the next tip that I'm going to share with you is something that I still struggle with myself, because I love having tea time before sleep. But it is logical to say that if you're gonna drink tea before you go to sleep, a few hours later you're gonna have to wake up and go to wee. And this happens to me all the time because I usually aim to have tea after dinner. dinner. But after dinner, I help Alexa with her night routine because she goes to bed around 8 and we go to bed around 10. By the time she's asleep, I make the tea and then it's more like 9:30 and then it's right before I go to bed. So I have to figure out a way that I can do it at least an hour before I go to bed, because if we do it right before we go to bed, it's guaranteed that we're gonna wake up and have to wee-wee. So definitely avoid drinking any water or tea unless you want to wake up in the middle of the night and have to run to the bathroom once or twice. And I've experimented where I don't have the tea or I don't have the water, and then usually I don't wake up because there's nothing to wake up for. So this habit can make a huge difference, and it's such a simple thing to do, but personally I know the struggle is real if you have this habit of having that cup of tea right before sleep, which does relax you in a way. It's just about, I guess, shifting it and being more mindful about what time we do it. But if it doesn't bother you too much to wake up once at night, for me it's not a huge struggle, because when I do wake up and I have to wee-wee and then I go back to bed, I'm able to fall asleep straight away. So for me it's not much of an issue. But if you wake up to go to the bathroom and then you're not able to fall asleep, then I would definitely cut out any liquids at least an hour before bedtime. And for those of you with children, it's the same thing. I do give Alexa maybe a couple of sips of water right before sleep because she has this habit as well before sleep to drink something. But definitely no like glass of water or tea an hour before sleep time unless you want to be both awakened to go to the bathroom. So watch out for that. Now, I have never been big on routines, but when Alexa was a baby and I was learning about having healthy sleeping habits, every sleeping book I would read or when I would talk to sleep trainers, the one thing all of them would recommend is having a routine. And then I thought about it and I thought, wouldn't it be the same thing for adults to have a certain time that every day you go to bed at? They said that it's better not to shift it too drastically. Let's say if you go to bed at 10 every day, aim to be in bed either half an hour before or half an hour after. You don't want to go to bed one day at 10 p.m., one day at 1, one day at 2:30, one day at 11. So it should be within the hour range. And I personally noticed that when I am able to stick to that time, I am able to fall asleep so much quicker rather than shifted by 2-3 hours. And I've done the same thing with Alexa for years now. She sleeps well, she falls asleep quickly because we always aim for the same bedtime. So routine when it comes to eating. Try to eat at the same time when it's time to sleeping. Try to also sleep at the same time. At the moment, I aim for around 10:30. Sometimes I go to bed even earlier nowadays, but usually it's around that time. So anywhere between 9:30 to 11, I'm usually in bed and sleeping, and it's one of the best habits to have. And the last thing I will leave you with is something that my mother-in-law always tells me, and I think it's one of the best tips I've gotten from her, is that if you can't fall asleep, the worst thing you can do is stress yourself more and lie in bed and say, I'm not sleeping, why am I not sleeping, this is so bad for me. Because the more you're gonna stress yourself, the less chances you're gonna fall asleep. So she always used to tell me when I used to struggle with sleep, especially I think when I had Alexa, and sometimes your child wakes up a few times at night and then you're not able to go back to sleep because it messes up with your schedule. She would say, just lie in bed and just relax. Just don't worry about sleeping. As long as you rest, that's good enough. And I remember just saying that to myself, especially if during the day I had to catch up on sleep. As a new mom with a newborn, I had to take naps sometimes, and I've never taken naps in my life. I've always actually struggled with naps, but she would just tell me, lie down and just relax. Just close your eyes and relax. Relaxing is good enough. So when your aim is not to fall asleep and you're not pressuring yourself to fall asleep, you actually fall asleep. And that is such an important thing to keep in mind. So I do the same if I ever now have a night where for some reason I'm overstimulated and I'm not able to fall asleep. I just tell myself, it doesn't matter. If I don't fall asleep, that's fine. The world is not gonna come to an end if I don't sleep one night. So I'm just gonna close my eyes and relax. You still don't wanna go vacuum the house or watch television. You wanna be in bed resting regardless of whether you're able to fall asleep or not, because resting is still really vital to your body. And when I close my eyes and I just relax, I'm usually able to fall asleep within 10, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour, but I'm in that sleepy state and eventually I do fall asleep. And if all fails, the last bonus tip that I'm gonna give you that really has worked wonders, it's a tip that my friend Didi shared with me a while ago, is that she listens to audiobooks that put her in that sleepy state. So if you have somebody in your life whose voice resonates and puts you in that state. For example, for me, Alan Watts, I just really love his voice, and the vibration of his voice puts me in that sleepy state. And same with Eckhart Tolle. So Power of Now or any of the talks from Alan Watts, I just would pop it in my ears, turn it on, and just again close my eyes, rest, listen to Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It just knocks me out. So again, if all fails, this is like the last resort that I use, and then I'm able to fall asleep, and then I wake up hours later and I'm like, oh, it all stopped. I wish you all to sleep well. Most importantly, when we start taking care of ourselves and being more mindful about how we live life, how we treat our body, then things slowly but surely start turning around, and healthy habits do make a huge difference in the way we sleep. And also, of course, as I mentioned, having the right mindset and relationship with sleep. So I will leave you with this. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you have found maybe interesting or anything that stood out in this video. When you do try these tips, let me know. Please do report back and let me know how and what has helped you. I would love to hear. If you've enjoyed this video, give this video a big thumbs up. For more videos, please subscribe for more over here. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!